stupid new wall fucking work. Well, now that has been dealt with, I can move on to the review. Today I'm reviewing Friends Forever number 9, starring Granny Smith and the Flim Flam brothers. What an odd pairing. No matter, cue spoiler alert. Warning, there are spoilers in this video. I repeat, this is not a drill. There are spoilers in this video. This comic is written by Christina Rice, and if I'm not mistaken, text, correct me if I'm wrong, she's a new writer. She is paired with the existing artist of Tony Fleece, and if I'm still pronouncing that name wrong, just remember,
mispronouncing things is my thing.
Now, I usually don't recover an artist once I've covered them in their debut in the comics, but this is actually one of the best comics I've seen drawn by Tony Fleece. It doesn't really have much in the way of uniqueness from show style like Andy Price's art, but it is a marked improvement from the first comic that Tony Fleece did draw for, which I believe was the Fluttershy micro-series. So the comic begins with the Apple family heading to AppleCon 45, which is apparently its most crowded yet. I mean, seriously, the entire population of Equestria is practically at this one convention. There's at least every single well-known background and foreground pony somewhere on this page. Let's see if I can list them all. The Apples blossom forth Derpy, that beekeeping pony, Daring Do, Hayseed Turnip Truck, Pinkie Pie, a Royal Guard, Rainbow Dash, Berry Punch, Featherweight, Rose Luck, Luna, Carrot Top, Lemon Drops, Rarity, Brayburn, Apple Fritter, Miss Harshwinny, Bulk Biceps, Thunderlane, Celestia, Flash Sentry, the great and powerful Trixie, Cheese Sandwich, Aunt and Uncle Orange, Spitfire, Carrot Cake, Cupcake, Mod Pie, Limestone Pie, Marble Pie, Igneous Rock Pie, Cloudy Quartz, Lyra, Aloe, Zakora, Miss Cheerilee, Sweetie Belle, Scootaloo, Babs Seed, Twilight, Spike, Cadence, Shining Armor, Sunflower, Diamond Tiara, Silver Spoon, Twist, Fluttershy, Fleetfoot, Snails, Snips, Photo Finish, Screwball, Vinyl Scratch, Octavia, Time Turner, Bonbon, Lotus Blossom, Pip, that reference I don't get, and Surprise. Also, I think that this pony is supposed to be a ponified Conan O'Brien? Well, that was every pony that I saw. Let me know in the comments below if I missed any. At the end of the video, I will put the image of the entire convention up on the screen long enough for those who don't have the comic to look at. Anyways, Applejack and Big Mac set up the Apple's booth while Apple Bloom goes to stand in line for a limited edition engraved con coin. Meanwhile, Granny Smith decides to wander the con, all the while complaining about how there are oranges at AppleCon, apparently forgetting that there are oranges in the Apple family on both the east and west coast. While wandering, she encounters Flim, sans Flam, trying to shill his Apple Peel Core 8000. Though, unlike his previous appearances either in the show or other comics, he's not doing too well. After some continuity, he reveals that him and his brother both have separate booths, but not because they want to scam more ponies, because they're not on speaking terms. Granny, based on her previous experiences with the brothers, does not believe they are not up to something. Double negatives, but it's what I had to say. On the other side of the con, Granny receives the exact same story from Flam, and still doesn't believe it. Granny reports her findings to Applejack, who tells her to stay away from the Flim Flam brothers because she is among the helpless ponies the brothers are trying to scam. However, Granny is quite stubborn on the issue, though the conversation is soon interrupted when Granny notices Flim walking solemnly away from the con, though she wrongfully believes that he is going away to meet with his brother privately to discuss their scam, and thus follows. Turns out Flim was just trying to get some alone time. He tells Granny that him and his brother have not spoken in weeks, which Granny still refuses to believe. And Flim even admits she has no right to believe him. But he then goes on to tell why they are not on speaking terms anymore. 3 weeks prior to AppleCon, the brothers were selling their Apple Peel Core 8000 in Dodge Junction when both brothers fell in love with the same mare. Her name was Marion, and they ended up in a competition for her affection. But in the end, they were both rejected. Instead of blaming themselves, each brother blamed the other brother, and thus they decided to not speak until the end of their days. Finally convinced of the truth, Granny decides to help get the Flim Flam brothers back together. Whoa, okay, this plot just took a left turn into the Twilight Zone. I never thought of all ponies that Granny Smith would actually willingly help the Flim Flam brothers, after all of the hardship they've caused for the Apple family in their other appearances. Anyways, Granny manages to orchestrate a meeting between the two brothers in the Orange Pavilion. That way, if there's a fight, none of the Apple's sales or merchandise will be affected. As expected, the brothers begin to fight, but Granny breaks them up and explains why she's actually bothering to help them. Basically, many years ago, when Granny was actually hot... Wait, did I just say that out loud? Anyways, Granny had a pair of brothers fight over her for her affection. And in the end, she couldn't choose one of them. She didn't want to break the other's heart, so she rejected both of them. Like the Flim Flam brothers, the brothers blamed each other and decided to not speak to each other until the end of their days. And they still haven't spoken to each other to this date. Granny always sort of felt responsible for the rift between those brothers and didn't want the Flim Flam brothers to end up in the same situation. Upon realizing what exactly until the end of their days actually implies, they make up. And on the way out of AppleCon, the Apple family encounters... Oh, yes, your apples must be peeled by George, and here we have a deal. You know it's really quite a steal, the Peel Core 8000. You must remove that nasty core, but time it takes is such a chore. Now your tears and toil are no more. The Peel Core 8000. Just step right up and test it out. You'll be satisfied, we have no doubt. Can we hear everyone shout it out? The Peel Core 8000! Sorry for making your ears bleed. Anyways, AB does not get her coin, but that's not really that important. So they set out for Sweet Apple Acres, and we come around to the moral of the comic. Family and friends are the most important ponies in our lives, but sometimes folks need to be reminded of that fact. The end. Okay, this comic receives my first 10 Peel Core 8000s out of 10. It really caught me by surprise. I thought that it would be the stereotypical Flim Flam plot. The brothers are up to something, but instead of AJ thwarting them, it would be Granny Smith. But then out of left field comes this whole character development for the brothers, with them being angry at each other and showing that they have more emotions beyond their every pony needs to buy our shit mentality of the snake oil sales pony stereotype. This was also the best paced Friends Forever thus far, and had a fantastic, albeit rather cheesy, moral, which just makes it all around one of the best comics of the entire MLP comic series. It truly was worth a 10 out of 10 score. Well, that is my 2 bits on Friends Forever number 9. Tell me your 2 bits on it in the comments below. And while you're down there, why not suggest a possible future spoiler alert, and don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, you can support my 2 bits on Patreon. Well, I'm Comic Sans, and I will see you next time when I review Friends Forever number 10, starring Fluttershy and Iron Will. And I thought this comic had an odd pairing.